Hello and welcome to the first video in this series, How to Practice Ševčík Opus 3, made for Zodiac Online 2020. I'm Francis Kefford, and although I'm the Viola faculty at Zodiac, I've chosen this material because these exercises are really going to be relevant to anybody who uses a bow, and they're also going to be fantastic for players of all levels, right from a young student just getting serious about practice to professional players. That's because Ševčík was a brilliant, intelligent, and logical thinker about technical problems, and these variations really have the potential to transform your right arm technique. Now, I have no idea quite how far we'll get with these videos. My plan is to release one video per variation and to hopefully get through the first 4 or 5 during Zodiac Online. And who knows, if anyone other than my mother-in-law ends up watching these videos, perhaps we'll do the whole book. Now, I think the best way to practice these exercises is to build them into your daily warm-up routine, perhaps focusing on 1 or 2 variations for 10 to 15 minutes. Of course, practice them longer than that if you wish, but really the idea here is that these exercises might become to your right hand what the calf stretch is to the footballer, or downward dog to a yoga teacher, or onions for a chef. The idea is that these exercises, combined with some clear and focused thinking, might liberate your creativity and invention when you go out to make music. That's really the idea. So let's just have a very quick look at the theme. I'm not going to spend too much time on the theme. I just want you to notice the rough dynamic outline: mezzo forte, piano crescendo, piano, and I think we can use those dynamics as a template to complement perhaps the printed dynamics in some of the other variations. But mainly I just want you to notice that the theme really features string crossings, and no right arm exercises would be worth their salt without some string crossings, and string crossings will remain thematic throughout all of these variations. So if we just remind ourselves very quickly just some of the absolute basics of string crossings, that our elbow should be at the comfortable level for the double stop, the 2 strings that you're playing on, and then we focus on using our wrist and fingers to just create the minimal possible movement between strings. That's the general idea. We're not going to spend too much time on that now because we're going to come back to that again and again. So for now, I really hope you enjoy these videos, and let's crack on with variation 1. Variation 1 is very simple. If we have a quick look at the music, we can see just a few indications of what we should do. We've got a tempo marking, which is helpful. We've got a forte sign and a bowing. That's it, and some notes. So as I mentioned about the theme, all of these variations deal with string crossings. We have to think about that. But what we don't have in variation 1 is an indication of where in the bow to play. And this is where what I'm going to suggest to you is that you practice this at the frog, right at the frog. One of the reasons that I decided to do this educational video on Ševčík Opus 3 was because I've ended up doing especially these early variations with just about every student I've taught at Zodiac Academy. And this first variation is fantastic to get people, get students more comfortable playing at the frog. I've seen many students who like to play, who think the frog is there, and we have to get more comfortable getting right to the end of the bow. So let's have a quick look. I would suggest starting this a little bit more slowly than what's written. And just what we're going to focus on is our wrist and our fingers. We'll try and keep the upper arm relaxed and stable, not moving too much. And we're going to focus on making a good sound at the heel using our wrist and our fingers. So all of these up bows are retakes, not moving up the bow, but retakes to get this circular movement of the wrist. So I'll just see if I can demonstrate that a little bit. Let's have a look at it slowly. I'm just going to do it on 1 note to begin with. That's a good way to start, is to leave the string crossings out of it. So let's try. that's a very good way to start, just focusing on making a nice, beautiful sound. We don't want, because that sounds no good to anybody. So what we want to do is make a beautiful sound, strong sound, forte sound, beautiful sound at the heel with a nice, gentle circular movement of the wrist. Now what I did there was I just adjusted because I felt my arm being held up a little bit, which is a common problem if you're playing at the heel. So we want to keep this nice and heavy, nice and weighted into the ground, and all of the delicacy will come from the wrist and fingers. So we're going to focus on keeping this part of the arm quite flat, so we can really focus on this wrist and finger movement to get these bow retakes nice and beautiful at the heel. And this tempo marking of 116 is very clever because any faster and we will rush this movement. It doesn't give us time to think. I think whenever you're practicing anything technical, it's important that you're using your brain. I know that that sounds very, very obvious, but it's incredible how often we all don't actually think about what we're doing. So I'll give these exercises to students and they'll play them and practice them and come back, and it's obvious that they haven't actually been thinking about why they're doing it, or being actively intelligent about what is the purpose of this. So with this, just to reiterate one final time, what's important is to think about this circular movement, and the tempo marking gives us time to make that movement. That was a bit slower than 116, but 116 also gives us that time. So have a look at that, and hopefully see you for variation 2. Thank you. So if you watch these videos, I guarantee you too will be a classy string player.